Welcome to Incorporating SuperPowers. I am Justin Recla, your host, and today we are talking to Jerry Teplitz about the power of the subconscious mind. And really, if you're in business, if you're a startup entrepreneur, if you're really struggling on getting going, if you're having trouble with sales, um, uh, if you're having just trouble getting going and getting motivated because you've got some old stories that are running in your head, this conversation is going to be one that you're going to want to listen to. I've done work with Jerry in the past. He's helped me get unstuck in different situations. Just a little block that I come up on, and boom, just 15 minutes with Jerry, and boom, I'm cleared. And so the magic of what Jerry does is he understands how the mind works, and he helps you unprogram some stuff. And just a little teaser here, we're going to actually demonstrate some of this after the break. So you're going to want to, if you're watching the video, you're going to want to pay attention to what Jerry is going to actually walk me through on camera. So Jerry, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here with us as a guest today.
Thanks, Justin. It's a delight to be talking to you on the show.
So Jerry, tell the audience a little bit about what you do and the magic behind it.
So my expertise is in the area of brain performance and neuroplasticity. I was originally an attorney. I worked early EPA days for the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, then did a total career direction flip-flop and wound up getting a doctorate degree in holistic health sciences. And I've written 9 books now. 2 of them went to bestseller on Amazon. And my focus has been on using an area called brain gym, which are very simple body movements that were developed originally for children and adults with learning disabilities, where you can take D and F graded students and give them the capability of becoming A-level students in a semester just by using movement. When I got involved with this work, though, was back in 1986, and the fellow who developed this, a guy named Dr. Paul Dennison. Dennison is a PhD in education, and I observed when I was going through certification to teach this work, it was in the education arena that it was being used. Administrators, faculty, counselors, parents with kids. Nobody was doing anything in the business arena, so I asked Dr. Dennison and his wife Gail if I could create a course for salespeople, and they said sure. So I created a one-day seminar called Switched On Selling. And then Switched On Startup Entrepreneur came out of that at a later point.
Well, and I think some of the tools that you have, they're things that most people aren't aware of. And that's why I came up with the whole concept of the show, the power of the subconscious mind, because you literally, the work that you do, and I've, folks, this is some really cool stuff. If you're watching the video, I mean, he had me crossing my arms and doing all sorts of stuff. But when you're going through the process with him and when you're going through his courses material, it makes sense because you can actually physically feel your brain rewiring itself. I've experienced it a couple of times now with Jerry. At every time we meet up at CEO Space, I'm like, hey Jerry, can I get you 50? I just need you just this part right here or this part right here. Can you help me rewire, right? And he's absolutely brilliant in this space. So Jerry, talk about what it is that the neuroplasticity, like you're talking about the mind. What is it and how does it work?
So there was an interesting study that was done fairly recently where they took couch potato type folks who didn't move off the couch at all. And they found if they just did a little bit of exercise, they were actually changing DNA structure in their body and in their brain. So a little movement actually equaled changes in the DNA. So these brain gym movements that I use in the classes are actually making changes in the person's DNA. Let's talk about Switched On Selling first before we talk about Switched On Startup Entrepreneur, because that was the first course that got created. When I started teaching the class, and it was back in around 89 when I started teaching it, what I observed is by end of day, people were so different, they didn't remember how they were at the beginning of the day. Because when you change the wiring, it's no longer on the stuck part. Because as a salesperson, if you have pieces you don't like to do in the selling process, they stop you from going forward. And so I decided I needed to do some research to validate the impact of what I'm doing on folks. And so I created a pre-course seminar questionnaire. When people walk in first thing in the morning, they fill that out. That way they see where they're at. And we got a record of them saying, here's where I am at. End of the seminar day, we have them fill it out again. But then we collect the forms back and get it back to them a month later, because my concern is, was it just seminar high or just placebo? You know how, Justin, you go to a seminar, you leave really excited. And
you get the rooms full of energy and everybody's just ramped up because of what's going on. Yep, been there, done that, experienced it.
Yeah, and you go home and it's gone in 3 days.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see, did anything actually stick? So we did a study with 695 real salespeople. We gave them the pre-seminar questionnaire, post and a month later. And one of the statements, just to give you a quick example, is, I'm comfortable asking for the order and closing the sale. Pretty important part of the selling process. Beginning of the seminar day, 52% of these real salespeople responded negatively. End of the seminar day, it dropped only to 8% on the negative side.
Right.
A month later, it dropped to 6%. Now, we also had a category they could select of strongly agree. Beginning of the seminar day, 16% said strongly agree. End of the seminar day, jumped up to 35%. A month later, what would you expect to happen, Justin? Normally, we'd expect drop.
Normally, most seminars, that energy, you would expect it to drop because you're not being surrounded by that energy again.
Yeah, so guess what happened? They went from 35%, a month later, they jumped up to 50%. When they were back out in the field, they discovered they're actually even better than they were at the end of the day. And the other 43% were in agree. We now had 93% on the positive side. And one of the most amazing things about this class, we don't teach technique at all. It is just a brain rewiring.
And I can attest to that. It is literally that when I worked with Jerry, he didn't have to teach me how to do anything. He just guided me through the process. I did the movements. He asked the questions. I responded. And here's the key to it, folks, is that you're going to do it. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't lie to yourself when responding, because otherwise the techniques aren't going to work. They're not going to take, because there's a level of interaction between what you believe and how your mind works to it, the techniques that Jerry's working you through that help you move beyond it. And if you lie to yourself, you're going to stay stuck. But what I love about it is if you just listen to what Jerry said, is that unlike most seminars, right? Most people go to a seminar, they feel really good in the seminar, they feel really good 2 days in the seminar, and then a week later, the person that they're listening to, who may have told them and given them the techniques and told them how to do stuff, they're still stuck, right? We find these seminar junkies that go from one seminar to another seminar to another seminar because they're constantly looking for that high. Working with Jerry, what he just said, and I've experienced this, is that going through his stuff, attending his seminars or going through one of his courses, it sticks with you. And it just rewires your brain. And that's what I love about what you do, Jerry, is that it literally, there's not much that you have to do. It's just go through the technique. You don't have to learn how to do it. I'm not wanting to be a brain gym practitioner, but it works.
As a matter of fact, I did a bottom line research study with this, because what I was talking about is people's attitudes. But what about the bottom line? Does that actually change? One of our clients is called Active Termite and Pest Control. The president is Kevin Kordick. Middle of the Great Recession, he heard me do my regular seminar for corporations and associations called Increasing Your Leadership Power to New Levels of Excellence. And I was doing switched on selling, and he decides to put half his sales force through the class. And I told him, put your mediocre folks in the class, your bottom level. I don't want your top folks in the class. And we actually had to have a long discussion for me to convince him, because normally companies will put their top people in a sales training program, not the middle and lower folks. He does. And he's very heavily into tracking statistics. And what he observed was 6 of the 8 people immediately jumped above his top tier people. They actually created a higher top tier.
Wow.
October that year, I was doing the class again, and the ex-top tier people insisted on going, and everybody else who was in sales went. And a year later, I asked Kevin what happened. So this was now when we started to move into the slow recovery. So he said his profits doubled. Now, this is when most other pest control companies were either going out of business or barely holding their own. His profits doubled. On 2 of his high-end product lines, he became the #1 distributor in the country, and he's a small operation. And one of his guys jumped up over 300%. Now, of the 6 that originally jumped above his top tier people, 2 of them thought the seminar was actually a crock, a waste of time. 4 months later, he sits him down in his office. He says, here's your stats before the 1 day. Here's your stats since the 1 day. What changed? And even these 2 guys said it was the 1 day seminar. So the beauty of this is you don't have to believe it. You don't have to buy into what I'm going to share with you. You just have to go through the process.
It just works. It just works. And folks, and so here's a teaser. We're going to take a quick break here. And after the break, Jerry's going to demonstrate this a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about the startup entrepreneur stuff as well. But stay tuned. We're talking to my guest today is Jerry Teplitz. We're talking about the power of the subconscious mind. And I do want to give a shout out to our new show sponsor, Crypto Wealth Coach, Seth Manny. Check it out. We're going to have an image here and on the webpage as well. Thank you to Seth for sponsoring the show. We'll be right back. Oh, actually, before we get right back, Jerry, where can people go find more information about you?
So there are 2 places. One is my main website, which is just my last name, Teplitz, Teplitz.com, Teplitz.com. Or we're going to be talking about Switched On Startup Entrepreneur, and that would be switchedonstartupentrepreneur.com. So switchedonstartupentrepreneur.com. So those are the two different places.
Awesome. So I'm getting ready to throw myself under the bus, and you're going to get to see some of this here in just a minute. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you an entrepreneur who speaks at conferences? Have you attended a conference and seen someone on stage you know is guilty of bad business practices? If you want to stand out from the crowd and give your prospective clients peace of mind, then make sure your business is in the Clear Directory. All of our members operate in transparency and are screened annually for frauds and scams. Stand out from the crowd and get in the Clear Directory. Visit clearbusinessdirectory.com/join to sign up today.
Welcome back to Incorporating SuperPowers. Got my guest, Jerry Teplitz, on with me. If you're watching the video of this, well, first off, if you're listening to the audio version of this, go check out the video of this, because we're gonna do some stuff here that I'm gonna be a guinea pig, so you can see this. Just so you know, this is not rehearsed. I've worked with Jerry in the past before. I think this is very timely, given some of the stuff that I've been experiencing in my life right now. And so Jerry, let's before I throw myself out there for everybody to witness and see what you're going to do to me, talk to me a little bit first more about the startup stuff that you've got going on.
So Switched On Startup Entrepreneur is an online training program that I've created. And because becoming a startup has become real big in this country and around the world, but you run into blocks in your mind. In other words, all of a sudden you realize, I got to talk to an investor. I got to find team members. So you may be good, as an inventor yourself in your kind of cubicle, but you got to do other things and get other people involved. And so if your brain is off on that, you won't get anywhere. If your brain is in the on position, you might need education, for example, on how do I do a proposal, but your brain's not going to be in the off mode saying, my God, I got to do a proposal, so that you can actually succeed as a startup entrepreneur.
Awesome. So this techniques, what are you going to have me do right now? What I know you said, hey, I want you to try something out on the show. What is it you want me to do here? So I'm willing to play so you all can see this. Watch what he's going to do here. What do you got for me?
So by the way, I'm going to say this so the people who are listening to the audio, they'll be able to participate. So I'm actually looking not only for Justin to do this, but for you folks to do it as well. Justin, is there a way to keep the camera on you when I'm actually giving the instructions so they can see what you're doing? Don't do it yet. I'll tell you when.
Do you want it just on me?
Just on you, but not yet.
All right, let me know when.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you when. So let me explain what everybody's going to be doing, including Justin here. Normally, I prefer people to stand up. He can't stand up because he's got the whole camera position, but so he's going to do it seated. And you do notice changes when you're seated, but you tend to notice even more when you're standing. And so I'll have you pick Justin, first of all, have you ever had a negative selling situation or a startup entrepreneur situation or just a work situation that was negative?
Always. I've always run into those experiences and I always try to work through them.
Okay. So what we're looking for is a negative work thought for all of you. And what you're going to do in a moment, you'll be standing, Justin will be seated. I'm going to have you close your eyes, think of that thought. And then I'll ask you after a couple of seconds to observe your physical posture. So you're not opening your eyes to look down at your body. You're saying just internally, am I slumped? Am I upright? Am I going side to side? So you're just observing. Whatever you're observing is perfectly fine. Then I'll ask you to observe your breathing. And you'll just notice is it short, shallow, long, erratic, whatever it is, you'll notice that. I'll ask you to notice if you have any pain. And some people do, some people don't. And then I'll ask you to notice what's going on in your mind. And there, again, you might notice whatever you notice is fine. So I'm not trying to program your response here, but let you have the experience for yourself. So, Justin, you understand the instructions, sir?
Yeah, I do. You want me to switch the camera over?
Yep, switch it over.
All right, stand by. Here we go. Put the pin. Stick with me, folks. I'm going to try to get this pinned here. All right, this should work.
So I'll talk now, and that still came back to me. So we'll just go with it.
We'll run with it.
Yeah.
Let's just run with it. There we go.
What you can do is you can hum while I'm silent, and maybe the camera go back to you while you're doing the exercise.
Perfect.
So we can see that. So
perfect.
Yeah. So in a second, and everybody's standing now. That's the key. Justin's staying seated. Yep. And so I want you all to close your eyes now. And I want you to start thinking of that situation, that work situation, negatively. As much intensity, as much clarity as you can, negatively. So we're going to hold this for a few seconds. And now, without adjusting your body, just observe your physical posture. Justin, you can start humming a bit. It's not going over to you, so that's okay. So now I want you to observe your breathing. Observe if you're experiencing any pain in your body, and if you are, where it is. And observe what's going on in your mind. Okay, open your eyes, everybody. If you're standing, you could be seated. Justin, so you're representing everybody now. What did you observe physical posture-wise? Just, if any.
Yeah, so I noticed, for me, I noticed that it felt like I was leaning forward a little bit. I had some pain in my shoulder, just behind my left shoulder blade, and my breathing was kind of short. It wasn't like a long breath. It was kind of like short breaths.
Okay, so, and did you notice anything going on in your mind?
Yeah, there was a lot of, as I was focusing on the negative thought, it was like I had all these different things, like not clear, but like lots of different thoughts coming in that were trying to like distract me from what it was I was doing.
Okay, great. And by the way, if you have a way for your viewers, listeners to respond to you, they can respond with what they noticed if there's a way to do that in your system.
Absolutely.
And so now we're going to go to a positive work situation.
Okay.
So do you have one of those in mind?
Lots of them.
Okay, so you're going to pick one positive day, positive situation. Same thing for you folks who are listening or watching. So I want you to focus in on the negative, on the positive this time, and then I'll take you through the breathing and the different elements again. So you ready, Justin?
Okay. Yep.
Close your eyes and start thinking of that positive situation positively and intensify that thought. And again, without adjusting your body, observe your physical posture, your breathing, any pain you feel in your body and where it is, and what's going on in your mind. Okay, open your eyes. Folks, if you're standing, you can be seated. So Justin, you're now the audience. What did you observe differently this time? Start with posture.
So this time I noticed myself sit back a little bit more, that my breath was a little bit longer and slower. I still had a little bit of pain in my shoulder, but it went from being like an intense sharp pain to kind of like just a dull pain. It really wasn't distracting me like it was the first time. And then my mind, all the thoughts, the chaotic thoughts that had come in, they had cleared out. They were just the one thought now.
Cool. So what you got to experience is what happens when we take people through the brain gym movement exercises in the class. We actually disconnect from that first negative go around. So if you went back then to that same thought again, it would not have a negative impact on you. You'd actually be responding as you did with the positive side now. And so that's the beauty. We're taking the places that you're stuck, where you have difficulty, what you don't like to do, what you avoid doing, what you don't do well. And when I say we're creating new neuron nets in the brain, I really mean it. That's what we're doing.
No, and it's having experienced it. I mean, even here, I can feel the difference between the negative thought and the powerful thought here. Connecting the two, it's like moving the energy of the thought in the brain, the way the brain perceives and interacts with a negative experience, and it's almost like you're overriding it with a new experience. And the movements and the breathing, just a lot of it, I think for me, is the awareness of it. And the beautiful thing is that because we're working with the mind and the power of the mind and the subconscious and how it all works, you as the end user, me as the end user, I don't have to worry about how it works because it just works.
Yeah, and that's where those two guys who thought it was a crock, it worked anyway. So it's not, This is not a belief system training program. It's literally go right in and let's change the wiring. Like when I worked with Justin, we then did a couple of when we checked him on that negative that he was working on, and it was really negative for him. And we just did several of the brain gym movements, and it's like it was different. He was different. His response.
So I got to ask. So in your switched on startup, does that course, does that walk people through the movements of what they need to start rewiring themselves?
I run it as if it's a live seminar. As a matter of fact, we shot it in a room with people. So there are times I'm looking at the camera for the audience who are watching this, and other times I'm looking at the audience in the room. So literally I'm taking you through the one-day seminar, the equivalent of that in the video training. So we've divided into modules. So there's like 20 modules in the class. You'll even do the pre-questionnaire at the beginning of the day, beginning of the class before you go too far. As a matter of fact, it's around module 6, and I had this guy who was taking the class. He emailed me saying, just the first 4 modules have blown my mind.
So what I love about it, So it's interactive then, people, because you're walking people through it. They're getting to experience it. They're not watching it to learn how to do it. They're watching it and they're doing the exercises to rewire their brains around whatever negative thoughts or experiences they have in startup or selling. Is that correct?
Yeah, startup selling, but we also have online switched on internet marketing as well. And so that's the other one, and that's at switchedoninternetmarketing.com. So if you're an internet marketer, that's the better one to take. So yeah, it's literally walking them through every single part of selling, internet marketing, startup entrepreneur, and making sure they're on for everything. I had a woman who just sent me literally a video testimonial that she took internet marketing, and she said she was struggling for 2 years with internet marketing. And she decided to take the class as kind of the Hail Mary last chance to have it work. And what she observed is by the middle of the training, she was having all kinds of ideas come in she hadn't thought of. Ways that she could structure things she hadn't thought of before. And it gave her a new lease on life.
And this is, folks, this is some powerful stuff. I mean, again, what I love about it is because of the movements, because the way the mind interacts with the body and the way the thoughts have an impact on our body. There's not a belief system here. This is just it's literally brain. It's brain gym. It's literally like a workout for your brain. It rewires it, and just go. I encourage you, if you're in a place where you're stuck with selling, you're having issues with internet marketing, or if you're in startup, give Jerry's stuff a look. Definitely worth the time. It's helped me out in our businesses and some of the stuff that I got stuck on. And when fear comes up, or they're having issues with selling or whatever, wherever that negative thoughts are taking place that are wreaking havoc on your business, give Jerry's stuff a look, because it's, again, you don't have to go study to learn how to do it. It's literally rewiring your brain to get you unstuck, to get you on the other side, so you can have different experiences and start seeing different levels of success in your business. Jerry, where can people go and find out more information about you again?
So I'll give 3 locations. One is my main website, where I do speaking for all kinds of groups and associations and companies and government agencies. That'll be Teplitz, my last name, Teplitz.com. And then on the 2 classes we were talking about, switchedoninternetmarketing.com, switched on internet marketing if you're an internet marketer, and for startup, switchedonstartupentrepreneur.com. switchedonstartupentrepreneur.com. And by the way, in all my materials, I give it not a 30-day money-back guarantee, actually a 60-day money-back guarantee, because I want you to take the time, go through it, and be really comfortable. And we're almost at the 0 level of returns on the products.
Nice. It's because it works, folks. It's because it works. And again, Jerry, I always enjoy your company. I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully here in July in Dallas. And folks, go check it out. Jerry, thank you so much for being on the show. If you have any questions, the links will be down below on the website. Again, check out his website. Check out his material. If you're stuck, it works. I can attest to that. It works. Jerry, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
All righty, folks. Remember, superpowers are real. You're in business. This show is all about incorporating those superpowers so you can have the success that you're looking for and the impact that you're here to make on the world. So until next time, keep on going, keep on doing the work, and keep incorporating those superpowers. We'll talk to you soon.